Howdy folks, hope you're all enjoying your weekend, and welcome to Deliver Us the Moon. Technically, that should be welcome back to Deliver Us the Moon, because this is not the first time I've covered this game. Although the last time, which was ages ago, the game was still in early access and only the first chapter was complete. But I enjoyed what there was of it, and I was keen to see how the story developed. I just had to wait a very long time for that to happen, but the game is now complete. It was released on Steam on the 10th of October for the price of a round of beers, unless you live in Norway, in which case for the price of half a pint of beer. The cool thing was that even though I had to completely reinstall the game from scratch because I'd already completed the first chapter, it remembered my progress, despite the fact that I had to reinstall it. And I didn't have to play through the first chapter again. Of course, the fact that you haven't seen me play through the first chapter, unless you watched the original video that I did absolutely ages ago, you'll have no idea what's going on. So, to summarise, as you can tell from the intro at the beginning, global energy crisis, helium-3 discovered on the moon, massive power station constructed on the moon, using a microwave power transmitter to beam that power back to Earth. Naturally, something goes wrong, and then one day suddenly all of the power stops being transmitted from the lunar colony. All communication is lost with the lunar colony, for reasons that aren't terribly well explained, just at the point when Earth could really use a functioning space agency to find out what's going on the moon, all of the world governments decide to cut the funding and shut down the World Space Agency. But a group of former space agency engineers, astronauts and scientists refuse to take no for an answer, scrape together the resources to put together one final lunar mission, and that's Chapter 1 of Deliver Us the Moon. The mission to the Pearson space station in geosynchronous orbit over the lunar colony. Rather than spend an extra couple of minutes summarising everything that happened in Chapter 1 of Deliver Us the Moon, there's a link down below in the video description to the video where I covered it all. Suffice to say that everything on the space station was dead, and simply powering up the space elevator to get us down to the moon's surface was a massive challenge, but we did it, and that's where we are now. The microwave power transmitter control facility. So, our primary mission is to get the microwave power transmitter back online and beaming power back to Earth. But as long as we're here, it'd be really nice to know what the hell happened to all of the lunar engineers who were responsible for maintaining and operating this place. So I need to retrieve an ASE unit to gain access to the MPT control room. What the hell is an ASE unit? Looks like some kind of robotic drone. Alright, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. First, what's this? Network's offline. Duh. Power very low. I have to run a diagnostic at the MPT control center. Let's open the doors. Which doors were those? Anybody see any? Oh, there it is. An open door. Okay. Welcome to the Copernicus Moon Hub. It is the year 2059, 5 years after the power blackout. Oh, there's some kind of communications echo over there. Copernicus, of course, a Polish astronomer, and because he was Polish, I'm probably mispronouncing his name. It's probably Copernicus, I don't know. So, if I'm getting it wrong, sorry Poland. Okay. ASE oh right, there's a sort of docking port mounted on the door. Won't let me through the door unless I have an ASE with me. Bloody health and safety regulations running out of control, that's what that is. Oh, we're about to pick up an audio log, so let's have a listen to that.
Hello? Hello? It seems empty. Where is everyone?
I have no idea. I've never seen the base like this. Is Alex getting any heat signatures?
No, nothing. This can't be right. I'll go downstairs, see what I can find.
Sarah, we'll figure this one out. And thank you, both of you, for saving me when the blackout hit. I know
Expedition team, you must be at the surface by now. Remember, you only have 40 minutes down there.
Copy that, Pearson. Don't mention it, Rolf. Can you check out the control center and see what's wrong with the MPT?
Will do.
Keep your comms on. I'll update you when I find something.
So this Rolf and Sarah were a pair of astronauts sent down from the orbiting Pearson space station when the blackout hit to find out what the hell was going on. And that sounded like their initial communications as they arrived on the surface. So that tells us a couple of things. Pearson space station was caught just as much by surprise as Earth was when the microwave power transmitter switched off. Pearson station was not in communication with the lunar colony. So whatever happened down here, it had nothing to do with Pearson station. They were just as bewildered as everybody else. What's this? Evacuees from Tombow are settled in. The bedlam at Tombow can never happen again. I'll have no part in that. Isaac, Lunar Council. To somebody called MacArthur. His reply, good, then we can begin soon. Time for them to make a decision. No leap forward has ever come without sacrifice? This sounds ominous. I'm pretty sure we'll find out what's going on. What's this? World Secret Service Chief Operations Director MacArthur was honourably discharged from the World Secret Service for years of... He's the bad guy, isn't he? He has to be. He was a former member of an intelligence agency. I mean, bad television shows and computer games will have everybody believe that nobody ever joined the CIA because they felt like they wanted to serve their country. No, of course not. That's not why people join the intelligence services. They do it to get the skills and training that they need so that they can become international terrorists and supervillains. So clearly Director MacArthur is the bad guy. What's this? Crossroads, Tombow, Earth, best and brightest, moving forward. Outward. Okay. Clearly something bad happened at Tombow, whatever the hell that is. Probably somewhere here on the moon. The Lunar Council director was in on it but regretted it, and it sounds like whatever it was instigated by the security operations manager, this MacArthur fella, who we've already established as a bad guy because he used to be a spook. I think I remembered seeing some kind of communications echo on this side, although these rooms are locked. About... Oh, yeah, here it is. Bunch of people with... Oh, there's an ASE here. Okay, well I need an ASE. How do I trigger the echo to see what happened in here? It's not over here. Oh, here it is.
William, what the hell was that speech about?
Our next chapter, Rosa. It's time. The ships will be ready soon.
You can't be serious. I don't know how you plan to fix this mess, but you'd better do it now.
That won't be necessary. Come with me.
You are serious. Will, have you lost your mind? We can't leave the colony behind like this, not during this blackout. Not with the MPT signal still offline. People on Earth depend on us.
Don't concern yourself with them. Those days are over. We have to start the long journey ahead. That was the agreement.
The ships were supposed to be our last resort. We didn't give up the first time, and we're not giving up now. When the network is back online, we can provide Earth with power again. We're close, William.
No, we're not. We're not close at all. If you still think we can power the entirety of Earth with the MPT, you're more delusional than I thought. We have one last hope, and it's outward. Now get ready, because we're going.
I'm not leaving, Will. Not like this.
I'm not asking. Get her on the ship.
What? Is this really...
Told you MacArthur was the bad guy. If there's one thing we've all learned from modern entertainment, you can never trust a spook. Right. Okay. So, something went wrong with the MPT. But it wasn't necessarily an accident. It sounds like MacArthur had something to do with that. The woman he just abducted, the head of the colony's research division, clearly had no idea and wanted to stick around and try to fix the MPT because, well, after all, that's their mission, transmitting power back to Earth. But MacArthur clearly had other ideas and had been planning for this. And they mentioned ships that were only ever intended to be used as a last resort. You would have thought that if something had gone wrong down here, they would have all evacuated up the space elevator to Pearson Space Station. But that clearly didn't happen because Pearson Space Station were just as much in the dark as everybody else about what had happened on the moon. They sent 2 astronauts down to investigate, Rolf and Sarah, we heard from them earlier, but the colony had already been evacuated by the time they got down there. You'd think that Pearson Station would have noticed any ships launching from the surface, and the fact that they didn't would indicate that the ships never got as far as launching. Or if they did, they were launched from another facility on the moon, but far enough away from Copernicus Moon Hub that Pearson wouldn't detect the launches. But whatever happened, Copernicus was able to evacuate everybody from this facility before Pearson could send an investigation team down. Don't forget, Pearson would have had its own problems as soon as the MPT was turned off as well, because the MPT provided most of the power via the space elevator for Pearson as well. So they would have probably not been able to send a team down for a couple of hours after the blackout started. They'd have to stabilise the situation in orbit on the station and then somehow get power back to the space elevator before they could send anybody down, and in the time that took, Copernicus Moon Hub had been evacuated. We just have to find out where everybody went and why. In the meantime, I have an ASE. It's broken, of course. That's going to have to be fixed. But then again, that's probably why it was left behind, because I haven't seen any other ASEs around here. So now I need to find some place where I can fix whatever it is that's broken. Now, if I was a betting man, I'd lay heavy odds that I could find the solution to this particular problem in the maintenance section. Unsurprisingly, that's absolutely correct. Now, this is not particularly difficult, but it's not quite as straightforward as you might first think either. There are various different parts that you have to replace inside the ASE, but they have to go in a very specific order and in a very specific way. The ASE actually has two of its components broken, and they both need to be repaired. Now, the parts that you need to repair the ASE are just scattered around the maintenance section. They're not particularly difficult to find. Where it gets tricky is putting those parts in not just the correct order, but also the correct alignment.
AZ connection to Moon Hub facility network failed. AZ network access port status defective. Component replacement is advised.
Now, luckily, whoever designed these things was an absolute genius. And they predicted, correctly as it turns out, that one day somebody was going to have to repair an ASE, and that somebody was not going to have a mechanical engineering degree, and instead they were going to be all thumbs. So the bits can only go together in the right order, which does make the puzzle a little bit easier. It's not like you can put them all together in the wrong order, realise that it's still broken, and not know which ones were in the right place and which ones weren't. You can either put the bits together, or you can't. There's only one right way of doing it. And in order to figure out which bit you need to insert next, you just look at the previous bit and see which bits are sticking out, which bits are sticking in, and find the bit that correlates to whatever you've just inserted previously. It really isn't rocket science. No, really, it isn't rocket science. Rocket science involves things that explode violently if you go near them with a naked flame. This isn't rocket science. I like the puzzles in this game. They're mostly at my kind of level. You know, hard enough to be at least challenging and entertaining, but not so hard that they have you screaming in rage and frustration. Most of the time. There was one I came across. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just basically hit buttons at random until it started working.
AZ thruster replacement successful. Initiate reboot to complete maintenance protocol.
Hooray! I have fixed the ASE. That will get me through some doors that have previously been closed. Now I just have to reboot it. Alright. What the hell is... That looks very non-standard. My PC doesn't look like that when I reboot it. Oh, great. Good news. I fixed the ASE. Bad news, I've broken something else. So I've tripped the power generator. Fantastic. Yeah, that's not helpful. Reboot the ASE. I've done that. How do I turn my flashlight on? You see, this is the problem when you come back to a game after being away from it for 6 months or longer. You can't remember what buttons do what. So... yeah. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, this I remember. I think. Yep, there we go. the hand laser. So there's an access panel here, and I'm basically lasering off the bolts that hold it in place. Now this is clearly here for a reason. So let's see if we can find out what that reason is. 2 to go. Last one. Right. I'm never going to fit in there, am I? But an ASE might fit in there. So, good news, I remembered you press R for your flashlight. But, did the ASE reboot before the generator tripped? Because if it didn't, given that the generator is on the other side of a door that I can't open because it doesn't have any power going to it, I'm going to be pretty buggered. So please work. Oh! We have movement. Okay, that's good news. The ASE did reboot before the generator tripped. So I should be able, once I figure out how to use it, to send it into the inspection hatch that I just opened up and hopefully find a way through to the generator room, reboot the generator, restore power so I can get out of here. Sure enough, I soon have the ASE in the vents, which is kind of worrying, considering that the doors stay shut when the power trips because, you know, you're inside a facility on the moon's surface. You can understand why, if anything went wrong, you'd want the doors to seal. Well, actually, then again, the vents were sealed as well until I lasered them open, so... yeah, okay, fine, I'll buy that. It was my fault. Right, is that power restored? Yes, that's power restored. So, all of those doors that were closed to me before are now open because I have my trusty robotic ASE companion by my side. Haha! Take that, health and safety executive. Oh, actually, hang on. Does that mean that whatever's on the other side of those doors is dangerous for an unescorted human? Oh, that's actually not good, is it? That's... oh, shit. Well, join me in the next episode as I take my brave pill, strap my man pants on, and explore further, trying to find out what the hell happened at Copernicus Moon Hub in Deliver Us the Moon. Full version of the game finally available on Steam for the price of a round of beers, unless of course, as mentioned previously, you live in Norway, where the same amount of money will buy you around about half a pint. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you're all having a great weekend, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.